It's Amber Bradley, your host for the unscripted side of LP. It's TalkLP podcast time.
3, 2, 1. 'Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it.
What's up, guys? It's TalkLP News Podcast coming at you. Amber Bradley, super stoked to welcome some pretty familiar faces if you've been in retail, asset protection, or loss prevention at all over the last, 20, 30 years. You guys don't make us too old, but Tony Caccioppoli and Angel Gutierrez from Secur-It. You obviously probably know them of any level if you have been in this industry. However, we're still going to introduce and kind of talk through some of their background. I drug them on this podcast because I was aware of Secur-It. Tony, obviously, we've been friends forever. And so you think about what you guys are doing, and when you explained it, and also meeting Brooke, the owner of the company, I'm like, okay, you guys got to come on here. You got to talk about this. But first, let's start with one of the things that honestly I feel like makes such a great differentiator in your service, your background. So Tony, welcome. We're going to start with you to give a little flavor of your full experience. Now, we can't take the full hour. I know you could with your experience, but we'll hit the highlights. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm honored to be here. As everybody knows, my entire career has been, for several decades, has been in the retail sector, specifically loss prevention, whatever they called it at that time, security, loss prevention, and morphed into asset protection. My experiences within department stores, luxury, and specialty. I've been very fortunate to have a successful career, surrounding myself with some of the best individuals within the industry, having some great mentors, and also my career afforded me the opportunity to make lifelong relationships with people outside of retail, which subsequently helped me while I was in that role. And I think I've been blessed. I've been blessed with the talent that worked with me. And I'm blessed to see many of the folks that worked with me who are out there today on their own. Brooke is running her own company. We work together, and the list goes on who's out there running their own organization. So if you were to ask me what's the highlight of my career, that's the highlight.
Yeah,
The
that
success
speaks a
that
lot.
the people that were with me.
Yeah, for sure. That speaks a lot to all the different people that you mentored along the way, I think, in the industry, which is phenomenal. Okay, Angel, over to you.
All right. So also thank you for having me on as well. My career really has been in retail over 30 years, and I started at the ground level. I started off as a salesperson way back when, so I understood the business from that point. And then from there, I got into security really by chance. The manager at the location that I was at asked me if I was interested, and I had a criminal justice background, and I moved into the asset protection, loss prevention field. And from that point on, it's a love at first sight, and moved throughout, many different positions, including, investigations and corporate security, and but mainly dealing with the luxury retail stores themselves. And dealing with all the people involved as well. And as Tony mentioned, with some great mentors, Tony being one of them, was able to have a very successful career in the luxury retail security business. And now we're doing something totally different now, but it's very similar to what we were doing in the past. So it's a perfect segue for what we've done in the past.
Yeah. It's super complimentary, which is partly why I wanted you guys to explain it yourselves instead of reading some stuffy background, right? Because I think what comes across is your passion for the industry, which I think is really cool. And so Tony, talk a little bit about what Secur-It does, and then why, and then I'm going to ask you both to kind of meld your obvious past experience in the industry and expertise in it, and why it matters to what you're doing now with Secur-It. But start a little bit like, okay, who is Secur-It? Like, what do you focus on? What do you do?
Well, Secur-It is a boutique firm, service provider for protective services. We stay in the luxury lane because that's where all of us came from. We understand that business, so I think we could help that client because we were there with them at one time. We did it. But we do everything from retail, We do a lot of events, a lot of specialty venues that we go to. We do a little bit of executive protection. We just started some residential for high-end clients down in Angel's backyard in Miami. And we also are in the commercial office buildings in New York City. And we're in the process of finalizing something in the distribution and manufacturing world. So we're starting to spread our wings a little bit, but our bread and butter really is in the luxury retail sector today.
Yeah. So Angel, I think it's interesting what Tony describes is he mentioned boutique, which most people think, oh, they're tiny little shop, but it's really not true. I think that what's interesting in the differentiator is the service that you provide to all of those different sectors, particularly luxury retail, as Tony mentioned.
That's correct. Luxury requires more than just a guard itself. They need more than security. They need a brand representation. They need a presence, and they need professionalism at their location. So I think that's where we come in. We've created an LPO position, which is a luxury protection officer, which really stands above what you normally see in luxury environments. Being from my past world, having the experience of having over 20 stores that I had to contract service providers, there was a lot of time that was wasted really when you have to deal with some of the problems that were being put in your stores. And that's where we kind of figured that there was a niche here that we knew what the need was because we lived it. So when we came up with our LPO officer, we wanted to put a product out there that was different from that was out there previously. So
yeah. Yeah, and talk a little bit about, Tony, specifically retail culture, and especially, of course, it's important to every retailer out there. I think we all can agree on that. But when you think about the luxury market, I mean, there's a certain clientele that you're attracting that doesn't want to walk into a space that A, feels unsafe, and then also this person has to represent that brand. It's part of the whole thing. I mean, you think about such beautiful Hudson Yard, right, in New York, and talk about the money that's spent in creating that beautiful space. You got to go along with making sure the brand is represented well. So talk a little bit about why your background and what Secur-It does kind of perfectly complements this whole retail culture thing that is just massively important.
Well, you just gave me the perfect segue. Having been in the retail sector and having the need to contract security services, more times than not, I was disappointed with what I received. More times than not, the conversation that I had with the provider wasn't what was delivered to me. You mentioned Hudson's Yards, one of the most beautiful locations recently in the west side of Manhattan. The best of luxury is within those spaces. And I remember when I first started in the business, and I started with Macy's. And my last assignment with Macy's was Herald Square. And we had a humongous store. We had security officers at every entrance. And the mantra that we had was, you're the first person that the client sees, right? Now, that was a moderately priced operation. So when I got into luxury, the people that worked for me back then wouldn't be appropriate for the brand that I was with in my last assignment. And I want to be able to provide somebody, as Angel said, whatever that luxury brand is, when that customer walks in, we're a part of that brand. We're not, we physically present ourselves to reflect the brand. We bring a situational awareness. We're not on our phones. We're impeccably dressed. We personally go out there and handpick people. Angel and I are constantly out on our streets in our respective areas, and sometimes we meet in our own backyards, and that's what we do. We spend an inordinate amount of time recruiting people. We want whatever that customer is all about, we go out and look for somebody who's going to meet your expectations and truly reflect your brand. And that's the difference that you're going to get from a boutique environment. There's a lot of great security service providers out there. Couple of them, they're gobbling everybody up, and God bless them for their success. But I think sometimes people get lost. Some of the feedback that I get, and Angel has been told the same thing, is we get lost with them. We're just another client.
Yeah.
It's another one. They put another check mark on the board and everybody rallies together. We just, did this, that, and the other thing.
Well, I think
We
what's
don't have
cool
that
is,
luxury. The fact
when
that we're small, we have to cater to you. We
Yeah.
have to make sure that what we say and what we promise, we deliver on.
Yeah, well, I think Angel, what's interesting is, and Tony brings up some fascinating points, right? I mean, that's probably the first thing you think of when you think of what Secur-It does, is the person and how they look and what vibe they're giving off, right? But and of course that's super important. But I think you guys even go a little deeper in the fact that, like, the Lamborghini event, okay? Like, that's what, like, it's an interesting example. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about it or not. We'll just bring it up. That's okay.
You can.
But
Go ahead.
that where it's not just the person. It's like it's the person, but also the level of service you guys provide. I mean, talk a little bit about that. Like, what's truly different? I mean, is there pre-work, post-work? Like, what is truly different?
Well, that assignment came as a result of the big show. We were approached by a couple of companies, and a tech company approached us and said, "Hey, we heard about you guys, and this is what we're doing." And fast forward, the Lamborghini Lounge is on the west side of Manhattan in the Chelsea area, in a very chic part of Manhattan these days. And the premise itself, the property is absolutely gorgeous. The cars are inside, and the clientele that night was a mix of retail executives, operations people, merchants, tech, you name it, they were there. Some of the most brilliant minds in the industry together collaborating in a beautiful space. Over 200 guests. I had to walk the space. I had to get a feel for what the space is about. I wanted to understand what their expectations was. Do you just want me to stand at the door and make sure that only invited guests come in? That's not what I do. My whole package is a package. We do it from the start to the end. We walk through it. I'm a part of that event. I stay there. It's an added benefit that the client gets from us. Angel does the same thing when he does it in his backyard in Miami. And, some of these people are extremely demanding, and you have to understand who you're dealing with and all the different personalities. It wasn't just retail people that night. I had to understand, their world. And I got a little bit of an education, I'll be honest with you. And it was a tremendous success for us. We got a lot of positive feedback, and we had a lot of positive opportunities because of that event.
Yeah, for sure. And it sounds amazing. I think that's part of it. You can hear the dedication in what you're articulating, right? But so Angel, add some flavor to that from an operational perspective.
Well, let me take it back to the details, because I think we both and all of us that really at Secur-It, we're obsessed with details. We believe that excellence lives in the small things. So when we go to a site, we really make sure that that our officers are the shoes are polished, shirts are pressed, ties are perfect, and that's what we put out there, and that's what we want to make sure that when we go to see clients, that's what's being represented of Secur-It. So the other thing that we do also that sets us apart, I think, from a lot of the companies that are out there, when we are going to put a officer in a location, we make sure that the client meets that officer and that it's a good fit for both. So that they understand the business, because it is a business. Bottom line, it is a business. And how are you going to enhance that business? Like Tony said, this is the first person they're going to see when a client walks in. This is the first person they're going to see. So how are you going to enhance the business is a big part of, and the first thing you look at is obviously the aesthetics and the way the person looks. That with the confidence, And also knowing that, when a client walks into a luxury environment, that you feel a sense of security. You feel, welcome. There's a smile. The door opens for you. These are the things that I think that the luxury clients are looking for. And this is what we offer. I think that's really different from a lot of the companies that are out there.
So it's almost a different mindset, looking at
Oh.
this resource that you're hiring, not just at a door or, oh, okay, we got to put some guards around, but it could be a enhancement to the overall customer experience. Like it's almost like a mind shift, right, Tony?
Yeah, it most certainly is, and we'll talk about the Lamborghini event again. I took my people that were assigned to that event 2 hours before the event so that I could walk them through the space, that they had an understanding of the space that they were going to operate within, from a emergency preparedness standpoint. What if something happens? I wanted them to get a feel for it. I wanted them to understand the nuances of it. I wanted them to meet the owners and the people that we were working for that night. And they, as Angel said, we send our people to you. I used to do that. I was so disappointed that I used to tell some of the providers, and I told my folks out in the field, don't let the provider just have somebody show up today and says, oh, yeah, I'm the security guard, I was told to come to the store. Does that person reflect the reason why you needed additional security? If it's a theft issue that you're having constant grab and runs, is the person that is coming to your store capable of deterring that type of activity? Or are you just getting a warm body? And we don't give warm bodies. That's not what we're all about. We want to make sure, for whatever the reason it is that you want our service, we're going to give you the best that's out there. And you're going to have a say in who you get. And if you don't like that person, and I highly doubt that you wouldn't like them, that person doesn't work for you.
Well, one of the things I saw that was like, oh, I really like that. And you know how I am with marketing, guys. I'm a big fan of good marketing. And this is, I feel like, not just after talking to you, not just a snappy marketing slogan, Angel, but protection, people, trust, presence, brands, respect. Give us a little light on where that came from.
It's just core values that we believe in, that we've believed in the past. We've brought them to this company because this is what we want to promote. I'm also, the marketing person as well, and I really enjoy putting our name out there. As you can see, the branding. So we really like to get our name out there, but not just the name, because we want to also, what does the name represent, and what's the difference between us and everybody else. So I think we promote, we advertise, but I also want to touch upon, another difference that I like to put out there is that, our officers are trained really better than a lot of different companies that are out there, because we don't just put a guard out there. And I'll give you an example. Some of the training that we do put out for our officers, and there's internal, external theft. Not that you're going to be involved with it, but the situational awareness where if something's about to happen, then you can alert someone else. We do emergency response procedures. We do de-escalation techniques, guest interaction. We do a slew of training that we just implemented for every single guard in our company. But again, that's something that we want to put out there. When we do market ourselves, that's what we want to put out there, the difference between us and possibly what other guards are doing out there in the environment.
Yeah. We everything that we wanted when we were back in the other role, we said we're going to build a program that delivers all of the wants that we had back then. And I had a lot of good service providers, don't get me wrong. I had some people towards the end of my career in my former life who truly went out of their way for us, who they drank the Kool-Aid and they knocked it out of the park. And we're taking that same concept out, and we're the ones who, because of our knowledge, we have the insight, we understand the nuances of your business, we know what your problems are. We're not just a firm who a salesperson is coming to you who has to meet a quota or whatever goal and add on more clients and accounts, et cetera, and more man hours to their payroll or what have you.
Yeah.
We're truly giving you an asset that's going to reflect your brand.
Well, I definitely think you guys have made that super clear from your passion, your examples for sure. But stepping back for a second from specifically Secur-It, and you've got, executives, luxury executives listening to this going, okay, I get it. Very exciting, from a differentiation perspective of others in the market kind of offering what you do. But if they're having to rethink, their current security provider, like what are a few things, Tony, that they should be thinking about? Like if they're like, okay, well, I get it, Tony, all this sounds great. I think mine's pretty good, but I don't know. What are some things they should rethink?
The first thing I would say to that person is go to one of your locations who you've contracted security services for and stand outside and look in. Is that person the very first person that you're
Like as
about
a
to see?
surprise though, don't tell them you're coming,
Obviously,
right?
yes. But if you're going to the location, before you walk in there, assess who's at that door. Are they truly representing your brand? Or again, did you just get a body? And I hate to tell you, many times when we're walking the streets, Angel and I, New York, Florida, particularly the Miami market, the people that are at the door do not represent the brand, in my mind. And again, I think I can speak, and I don't want to come across in a cocky way, but I lived it. And many of the people there, I wouldn't hire, and they wouldn't have come to work for us back in our former lives. And I just want to make it better. I want
Well,
to
you
grow the
would think,
business, and I could grow the business with Angel support because of what we deliver and what we
right.
bring to the table.
Well, you would think if you're going to work with anyone, you want the person to have the highest level standards, right? I mean, the people that are like, oh, we're not just going to be like, oh, it's fine. It's like the highest level standard. So final question for both of you as we wrap up, just to make sure. So Secur-It redefining this in the security industry, kind of carving out a new niche here for what you guys offer. Like, explain that in what one sentence or less. Give it a whirl. We'll start with you, Angel.
One sentence. At Secur-It, we don't provide bodies. We provide presence. We provide professionalism.
Yeah.
Oh, that you can tell he's like that's a marketing genius right there, who had it down. He was ready to go. All right, Tony, over to you.
You'll also get something from us that not many others can provide. I was fortunate in my career to have responsibility for North America. Uh, I've met just about every senior leader in the law enforcement community throughout the country, particularly the major cities that we were in. And that's something that we could bring a lot of people can't bring to the table. You have a problem, you have an event. We could bring those relationships with law enforcement at a senior level, with city officials to help you address whatever that issue is. Are you going to do a crazy wild event and you need help because you want to trying to do something different and it really can and will they let us do it? We could help you with that.
Yeah, and
What
that's
about
something
New
we
York?
didn't we
We
didn't
could go
talk
through all
about.
the cities.
Yeah, and I know I said last question. Okay, but we'll back up just 1 second. I think that's a really important one thing we didn't talk about, especially Tony, with you being, well, both in major cities, right? Major cities with lots going on, and lots of great connections. So, like in your experience, I think it's important to talk about the different, not many people have the people that you guys have on speed dial. Does that make sense? Not many people
Yeah,
have the people
yeah.
that you have on speed dial, right?
We're,
So
we're,
I
we're
think that's
blessed.
pretty cool.
Yeah, we're blessed in each of our careers to, uh, you know, there was the need for it. I always sought out, uh, and this is not a knock against the rank and file. My son is a New York City detective, but I always sought out who are the decision makers. Whatever my issue was, whether it was an event, whether it was the potential of a protest and civil disobedience or whatever, I needed the people who were the decision makers to help me. And over my 30 plus years in the industry, I have some of the best. Years ago, somebody who ran special events came to me and said, "Hey, Tony, we want to do something different with our holiday show." I said, "Okay, what do you want to do?" "Well, we heard that I said, "What do you want to do?" And they came up with this extravagant plan, and they wanted to shut down one of the biggest avenues in New York, if not the country. And, New York City and in many other cities throughout the country, you go to the city official, the mayor's office or whatever, and you fill out an application, and more times than not, you'll pay a fee. For what these people wanted to do, there are no applications and there are no fees. So I had to go to my relationships in NYPD, and collectively we all met. And at the end of the day, they approved it. And
You got it
20
done.
plus years later, my former employer is still benefiting from my relationships with NYPD to have the extravagant holiday show that they put on every year.
That's amazing. Angel, do you have anything to add to this point?
Yeah, I think the longevity of our careers offered us the ability to make some really good relationships in the law enforcement and in the community as well, which has obviously helped us in what we do and what we've done in the past. So I think we still leverage those relationships, and obviously we use them when we need to. But it's a two-way street. Has been my motto in working with individuals. What can I offer you? What can you offer me? And from that, we've been very successful, and we still have that to offer to our clients going forward.
Okay, so this is the for real one. The last wrap-up question. Like, any final thoughts? I know we had it so perfectly with the one sentence, but I couldn't stop with the whole relationship thing because I think that's a big deal. But okay, final thoughts you leave the audience with as we're wrapping this up. Tony, we'll start with you.
Are your guards, your security personnel, truly reflecting your brand?
Are they truly reflecting your brand? Like, that's really the thing. And I love this idea of the whole go there, don't tell anybody, but go. Like, don't sit in their corporate office and be like, oh, everything's fine. Like, you got to go visit it. Okay, Angel, I don't know. Tony just gave it to you like in the quick sentence. Like, go ahead.
Well, as a service provider, I would ask clients that do have service providers, what service are you receiving? And is that up to your standards? We don't follow standards. We're going to set the new standards.
Ooh, that's nice. I like that. Okay, guys, I really appreciate it. I think this has been eye-opening, hopefully, for some of our audience, and I appreciate it so much. And we'll have you back on the freaking TalkLP podcast hot seat to talk more about what you guys got going on. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you for the time and the opportunity, Amber.
Thanks, guys.
Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.